This is the IQOO Z6 44W Disassembly. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and follow me on Twitter so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. And if you need any tools, there are links in the description. To start off, the SIM tray needs to be removed. Here's a better look at that. Next, we need to use a hairdryer or a heat gun to apply heat to the back plate to loosen up the adhesive underneath, and then we're going to use a plastic pry tool to pry the back plate off. Here's a better look at the plastic back plate. The camera lens covers can be replaced by applying heat and gently prying them off. Now there are 20 Phillips screws which need to be removed. Next, we need to place a plastic pry tool in between the back housing and the frame of the screen and run it along the edges to pop off the catches. The back housing is also made of plastic. There are antenna flex cables on the borders of the back housing. The top cover can be lifted up and removed. The LED flash is located here, and there's some graphite film to help transfer heat. The battery cable can now be disconnected. And once the battery cable is disconnected, we can proceed to disconnect the rest of the cables. There's a coaxial cable on the bottom right side of the board that needs to be disconnected by popping it off. And there's some graphite and copper tape covering the connector for the front-facing camera, which needs to be peeled off so we can disconnect and remove it. Here's a better look at the 16 megapixel front-facing camera. There's a single Phillips screw which is holding down the main board that needs to be removed. Now the main board can be removed. On the main board, there's a 50 megapixel primary camera and the 2 megapixel macro and bokeh lens. The connectors for the cameras can be disconnected by just popping them off. Also, none of the cameras have OIS or optical image stabilization. There's a secondary microphone on the top corner, a white liquid damage indicator stick on the other corner, a thermal pad on this chip, and the rubber gasket around this connector. The SIM and memory card reader is located on the back, as well as the proximity sensor, and there's some copper tape and thermal paste on the back shields. Once the copper tape is peeled back, we can see more thermal paste on top of the processor. Here's a better look with the thermal paste removed. Now the bottom speaker assembly can be lifted up and removed. There's some more graphite film over the speaker assembly. Once the speaker assembly has been removed, we can see the flex cable for the screen, which is connected to an extension flex cable that connects to the main board. So if you need to replace the screen, you'd have to remove the back plate, and then remove the screws on the back housing and remove the back housing itself. Remove the speaker assembly and disconnect the flex cables on the subboard. Remove the subboard, heat up the front of the phone where the screen is to loosen up the adhesive underneath, pry old screen off, apply new adhesive, reapply the new screen making sure you run the flex cable back to the opening in the mid-frame, and reassemble the phone. Now let's go ahead and disconnect the fingerprint sensor, the flex cable which connects the main board to the subboard, the other end of the coaxial cable, and the flex cable for the screen. And then we need to peel off and remove the extension flex cable from the subboard. Now we can lift up and remove the subboard. There are rubber gaskets around the headphone jack and the charger port. And the primary microphone is located in the center. There's a liquid damage indicator sticker on the other side. To remove the battery, there's a pull tab to help us pry the battery off. Here's a better look at the 5000 mAh battery. Once the battery adhesive pouch is peeled off, we have a better view of this flex cable which connects the main board to the subboard, and the extension flex cable which connects the screen to the main board. The flex cable for the volume keys and power button is located on the side. The vibrator motor is held on with some adhesive, and the same goes for the earpiece speaker which is located on top. For the repairability score, I give this phone a 4.5 out of 10. Now it's time to put the phone back together. Once everything's back in place, apply new adhesive and reapply the backplate. Flip over the phone, power it on, and you're done. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.